Hey guys, I'd like to show you an app that I use for Android, and it's called the Mobile Observatory, and it is a very important app for all your astrophotography needs. Now, this app I think costs a few dollars in the App Store, but the amount of functionality this gives you and usability is mind-boggling. So let me quickly show you. So here's the main menu, right? First, I'll show you all the things that a lot of these other programs have, and you're not probably going to be too surprised by this. But so, for example, obviously you get the sky view, right? And let me go a little bit ahead so we can go to the dark. Here's the Milky Way going down. I'm in Canada, in Toronto, so obviously the core of the Milky Way is pretty low. If you notice, the stars are displayed in the way that the bigger stars, like the brighter stars, are shown bigger, and the dimmer stars are shown smaller. So it's basically it gives you a relative representation of how bright the star is, which is really really helpful basically. It gives you all the objects. So like I mean, this screen here is pretty useful to just kind of like when you're setting up and you're looking in the sky to have some kind of reference. So you get the zenith right at the top there. You can follow the Milky Way. You could quickly move the days forward, the months, the weeks. Um, there's a lot of here too. Like I mean, you could click on objects. It'll give you as you can select an object and get some more details on it. But okay, there's a lot to play around in this menu. Overview kind of gives you the whole sky, I guess 180 degrees, and then you could, as you move through the weeks, it shows you how everything changes. I mean, I'm giving you a pretty basic overview of each screen. There's a lot of stuff in there. Live view is also like the first one, but this time you actually point the phone in the sky, and you can actually see pretty well where you are in this, where you're pointing your phone in the sky. Here's a solar system. Now, this is for planetary imaging. Why is this useful? Well, I think the only reason I used this was to see how close the planets were, and to get basically a visual representation. So now I'm moving the months, and you can see how everything is moving. You can come out, and then you'll get Uranus and Pluto. Let's go by months, and you'll see. Let's go by years. See, this is about years how it moves. Um, and then you can probably zoom in and get the inner planets. Let's go by weeks. This is how it moves. It's helpful because it's very visual. You can understand how the crescents of the inner planets work, and the distances between the planets. So like when Mars was close by, like for example, let me shoot back a couple months. See, we're on July 20th at the top right corner. Look where Mars is, look where the Earth is. It's pretty close. As I move the weeks, we're going to be going back in time. Earth was further and further. And so this helps you understand, how come Mars was close. It's because of these orbits, right? Anyways, you could check that out later. Let's go further. Now, objects. This one, I'm going to skip this one because the objects one is the same thing as the favorites, the yellow star at the bottom. So I'll skip that. Let me go straight to the goodies. So you start your astro imaging session in the evening. Obviously, you start planning ahead, and you're thinking, okay, what am I going to shoot today? Like, okay, I got a clear sky, but um, I don't know exactly what objects are high in the sky. I don't know when they're going to appear. So, I mean, I've built my own database of objects, and you could build your own, obviously depending on your location. So if I go down, um, these are the objects that to me are the ones that I like shooting and imaging. So if you go all the way down, I mean, you get a lot of popular ones, and there's a lot more, but these are the ones that I either imaged or plan to image in the near future. So, why is this helpful? So, for example, let's go now. I'm going to click now, set the current time. We're September 20th. So, for example, I want to shoot Pleiades, M45, right? So, where is it? M45. I want to shoot it, right? So, if you look at Pleiades, you see that graph over there? Well, it basically shows you when it appears in the sky, when it's going to be in at its highest position, and when it's going to be um, at its lowest. Sorry, I was just checking if I'm still recording the screen. Okay, so as you could see, there's no point of starting like shooting at 11 or 10 because it's too low in the sky. So this way you could plan and see like, oh, okay, so probably like at 1 a.m. till sunrise I could shoot this and it'll be pretty high in the sky. But then you could be like, okay, so what do I do in the first part of the night? And then you could like look at the graph and see that, oh, okay, there we go, M27 dumbbell. It's going to be really high in the sky in the first part of the night, so you could hit that maybe. Um, so this is important to me because not only do I have the list of objects that I like, and I can get a lot of information about them by clicking on the object and going more. This will give me, everything about it, when, like all the apparent size of it. So this one is 8 by 4 arc seconds large, and then it'll give you, it gives you this when it appears in the seasons, the positions in the sky, this and that. Anyway, a lot of data, right? So aside from that, this is the graph I use the most because I could clearly see which objects are available to me in this time. I could quickly go and flip to like a few months ahead. Let's go January 2019. Now I could plan for the future. I could be like, okay, so in January, look, I can do the rosette is going to be just perfect. NGC 1499, which is California, we got to go back a few months. I mean, so November 20th looks like, or just the month of November looks ideal for it because you could start right in the evening and go all night, and you like the whole night you could be shooting it because at midnight it's at the highest position at 82 degrees. You could sort this graph by different. Oops, sorry, where is this? I don't want this graph anymore. So this is day visibility, the graphs, right? You could change it. You could do whatever you want. Like maybe you want to do, I don't know, stuff like this, whatever. Like there's a lot of settings here. Maybe you want to know how far it is from something, or anyways, this is the one I care for. Really nice. So this is an important screen. Twilight. You could check when for today you will be starting your astroimaging session. You got to go for the astro, not the nautical rise or the civil sunrise. You got to go for the astro sunrise because that's when the sky is the darkest. And obviously, for the sunset also, you want to see when is the earliest you could start imaging. Well, today I could start imaging at 8:21. Yeah, I could probably do it at 8:15 too, right? But it's helpful. So that's your twilight. Let's do some planetary imaging now. This is cool because what am I gonna do? So, for example, I want to know what am I shooting when I do Jupiter, right? I got my Galilean moons, right? So here's Jupiter. Let's zoom into Jupiter. And then, oops, I don't want to do that. Zoom out. And here are the four, is it four? Where's the fourth one? Yeah, here's the four big moons. Now, let me move the hour. Look at that. You see? Now the moons are moving. The moons are moving, and you could like any moment you're looking in Jupiter, you know right away which moon are you looking at. Now you can even see when it crosses the Jupiter. Let's go back. What was it? Bum bum bum. There you go. You get the shadow. You get the shadow appearing. Everything, right? So that's a good way to inspect moons when you're imaging. Now you got your Saturn moons the same way, right? Um, yeah, so that's helpful for that. Um, Even things like, okay, so once you start using this tool, you'll figure out ways of doing a lot. So for example, like I was shooting Mars, right? So I go to Mars. Here's my planet Mars. Let's go and see, like it's September already, so it's not as close as it used to be in the summer. But let's see what happens as I move the weeks. Look at the picture on the left top corner. See, it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So that's a good visual representation of how big it is going to be. Let's see how big it was in the summer. Let's go back weeks. Let's go. Like, I mean, look how huge it was August. Not only will it show you the size, but it will show you the orientation of of what are you actually imaging? Like, which side of the planet are you looking at? So that's good. Now, you could even get to the details. Like, what is the diameter of it? It's 24.1. And then a few days later, it was 24.2, 24.3. So, I mean, you can get a lot of stats here. So that's a good, helpful thing. When you're shooting Venus, I mean, it helps to know what kind of a crescent is it, right? You want to plan and see, obviously you want it nice and big, and you don't want the crescent too big because the bigger the smaller the crescent, the less of the moon, the less of the planet you have. So you could check out. You can get the whole planet, but then it's going to be like really, really small. You don't want to do that either. Okay. So that's planetary imaging. Eclipses. I don't care too much for eclipses, but obviously, what is it? I guess it will list you all the eclipses. A lot of sun data. I mean, look at this. This is all up to date. Like, this is what is happening right now, I guess. Different reports on the sun as of now. I'll look at May 23rd. You know why? Because I'm actually on May 23rd right now. Let me go to now. Set the current time to now. And I'm going to get the current conditions and all this fun stuff. I don't do solar. I don't do any sun imaging yet, so I don't go here. But I'm sure I will. The moon. Why is the moon important? Well, you want to know when there is no moon, especially when you're doing color astroimaging. So this will tell you that, right? Although there's another great app for that, but it's all here, right? And then you got your object database, so you could find your, for example, what do you want? I don't know. Let's go to the Deep Sky catalog. You got your Messier object. You got your Caldwell object. NGC, hidden treasures. Then you could sort it by, I don't know, gas nebulae. So it's all here. This is not the only tool to use. There's obviously a lot of other tools that you need to use along with this, but this is indispensable because, again, I think my favorite part is this. It's just looking at my objects catalog that I image and just knowing everything about it. Comparing what's the ideal object to shoot today and the ideal when is it at its highest position, basically. Because that's really important, right, guys? It's really important when the object is nice and high, less light pollution, less atmosphere to deal with. So that's that. Maybe I'll show you some other apps I use. Have a good one.